Hi guys, my name's Steven and welcome to our online teachers orientation. So let's jump right in and get started. First, I would like to introduce you to our EMI course. EMI stands for English as a Medium for Instruction. There are two parts to the EMI learning course. First, the students learn their input through our AI learning app. And second, they work with teaching professionals just like you to practice their output. Teachers should encourage the students to talk and practice target language. There are 6 EMI levels with 48 lessons each. However, the student's language may vary, so we encourage you to grade your level based on the interaction that you have with the student during the introduction. You can take a screenshot here if you'd like. Now, there are 2 types of lessons, the essential lesson and the elective lessons. Let's take a look at each one. Each one of the essential lessons corresponds with a milestone on our learning app. Each milestone is a package of lessons based on a particular topic. The elective lessons are grouped into themes like business, travel, lifestyle, and much more. They are independent and more flexible. The students can choose these lessons based on their interests and their level. Although there are so many ways that you can pronounce words correctly in English, we want to stay consistent. So make sure you check your target language in the Cambridge Dictionary. Let's take a few minutes to talk about the teaching flow. Our lessons are broken up into a few main parts: the introduction, the main blocks, the practice, and conclusion. You can see the times for each on your screen now, and here you can take a screenshot. Each lesson starts off with the introduction. It's very important to grade your students' language here, because you may need to make adjustments throughout the rest of the lesson. We suggest taking notes for each class, and here is a great place where you can take notes about the student's skill and level. In the main teaching blocks, we'll teach our key points through a few different types of activities. Part 3 is the practice session. We'll test and wrap up all the key points here. And during the conclusion, we'll summarize all the key points and give our feedback at this time. You can also choose to ask a few questions at the end of your class to wrap things up. I like to ask 2 questions at the end of every class. First, I'll ask my student, how do you think you did today? This will give me an idea of how effective my teaching is, and I'll also learn a little bit about the student. I can make comments based on their answer. And the second question I like to ask is, how do you think I did today? I'll learn a lot from the students' answers, and I can make adjustments for my next class to make sure each time I get better and better. The section breaks are identified on the pages you see here. And remember, included in each slide are your teaching notes. You'll get an idea of what the target is, and these notes will also help you stay on track. So until you're familiar with all the lessons, make sure you're checking out the teacher notes for each slide. And of course, there are topics that we want to avoid in our online lessons. Remember the keyword parsnip. Let's avoid politics. Let's not use adult language. Talk about religion or sex or narcotics. And avoid the isms like racism and communism and sexism. And never exchange personal contact information with the students. We're almost ready to wrap up today's orientation, but before we do, let's talk about the after-class feedback. Remember, the feedback should be specific, personalized, and constructive. Summarize the target language and any corrections that you noted in your notebook. Remember, the feedback is super important. Our students really look forward to it. So the feedback must be finished within 24 hours of the class. It's not optional, and your performance is graded partially on how you complete your comments. Let's take a closer look. When making notes about pronunciation or grammar, let's be specific. That's why it's important to take notes during your class. Use a bullet point format here so it's nice and efficient for you. In the general comments section, wrap things up nicely for the student in sentence format. Use the sandwich approach. Praise them, give them some suggestions for improvement, and then tell them something else that they did good at the end. Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the classroom.